So here's a rundown of a couple of things that have crossed my mind recently about my Tesla. And first off, it's the air conditioning is great in the car, and the fact that you have the remote access to the AC so you can turn it on while you're walking near the car is really nice. For the 4th of July, it was really, really hot. So it was really nice to be able to turn the AC on as we were walking back to the car and have it ready for us when we left. Well, it's one of these really hot days in Florida, and I thought it'd be nice to turn the air conditioner on in the car before I get there, so that way it's a little more comfortable when I get in. So we'll just turn it on here. Right. Oh, so much cooler in here. Whew, it's nice when the air is on when you get in. It makes a big difference, I have to tell you. When it's really hot out, it really is nice. Now, another day, I had an opportunity to work in my car again. As luck would have it, I had to run an errand somewhere, and I was outside waiting for someone for a while. And since I was there for like 2 hours, I just brought my computer with me, brought my laptop connected to my phone, and that was really terrific. It was kind of nice. Now, something else I noticed, as soon as I pulled out my phone and started to connect my computer to it and I was in park, the car actually automatically connected to the Wi-Fi on my hotspot on my phone, which I thought was kind of cool. It did that. I hadn't seen it do that feature before, but that was actually pretty neat that it did that. I also noticed as I was driving the other day, and I think I pointed this out before, but it just kind of caught my attention this time. I was driving somewhere and I put in the address, and I had scrolled down the page and I noticed, wait, it's showing me how much energy I'll have on the return trip without charging. So that was actually kind of nice in this case. It was a short trip, so it wasn't a big deal, but I hadn't really thought about how that worked before, but it was really nice to see it come up and be able to experience how that fits together. It was really pretty cool. Something else that was going on, I noticed Consumer Reports put out its cars with the best safety features, and Tesla Model 3 ranked up near the top simply because you can't roll it over. So once again, the Model 3 showed up as a very safe vehicle. I think it was number 2 on their list, number 1 on their list, something like that. But anyway, it was a very safe vehicle, and I thought that was kind of cool to see that pop up again, realizing that Tesla has a very safe vehicle that way. But unfortunately, on the other side of it, given the fact that there's been a number of recalls recently for various components, and I have a friend who needed a little work done on his car, and they kept having to order more parts for it to kind of make it work, because the parts wouldn't quite fit. The tolerances are very tight on their cars, and they do have some minor issues with some of their production at this point. So when you see the cars, sometimes there's little defects in them, and so from a quality perspective, the Tesla ranked near the bottom on Consumer Reports list. And that was a little interesting. And I understand it. It doesn't affect the ability of the car to drive. It's more cosmetic defects for the most part. Some of the recalls make you rethink that just a little bit, that maybe it's not all cosmetic defects. There's some other things going on. But overall, given the fact that the car itself is fairly simple to drive and there's really very few moving parts, I would argue that maybe their rating system needs to be updated to account for that. Because when you think about quality in cars, generally you're thinking about the quality of the car itself, the function of the car. Yeah, maybe there's some cosmetic defects, and maybe there's some things that were missed in manufacturing or they could have done better. But because there's no engine and there's no systems you have to deal with, and a lot of stuff can be fixed with the software, you have to wonder a little bit if the rating is not right. I'm agreeing that there's some quality defects in the cars, don't get me wrong, but because they're mostly cosmetic, I'm wondering if that's a different issue. As for my friend who was getting his car repaired, because he had some damage to the car, it was just that the tolerances on it were so tight, they had to keep ordering new parts to replace the parts in until they found one that actually worked in that car. And that's just the nature of it. So you could classify that under, quality issues if you want. It's just kind of interesting how that comes together. I also wanted to point out that Tesla recently announced that they're going to have a $25,000 hatchback car that they're going to have available probably later this year, maybe early next year, which is just an astounding thing when you think about it, because they're really going to set a new market for having a car that's in the Tesla family that's as affordable as, say, the Nissan Leaf, and a smaller car like that. It's maybe closer in size to the Bolt or the Leaf or something like that. But the price point is certainly good, and it will make the cars that much more accessible to everyone. And that's a really fascinating thing, and I think that's kind of neat and kind of important to see that Tesla is doing some of those things, and again, moving the needle in a different way. They have the high-end cars that they produce, they have the charging network, and now you want to have these cars on the lower end that would meet any consumer sort of need. So the question is, what would the cost be of gas if more people drive cars, electric cars? Would the price of gas go down? And I think the answer is yes, in that economies of scale sort of thing, supply and demand. If there's less demand for it, then there's more supply, then the price is going to have to be driven downward. So I would assume the price of gas would go down as a result, because more people would be driving these electric cars. We'll see as more roll out, as GM gets their cars out there. Tesla has this car go out, Ford has its F-150, and whatever other cars are out there in the immediate future to be in the electric space. I wonder if that'll happen. And speaking of price for charging, I was talking with my wife the other day about actually charging the car at home. Since I really haven't been on the road except for a couple of road trips, I haven't gone to work and used the charger there. So I've been charging primarily at home. And she actually told me she has not seen a change in the electric bill over the course of the 18 months or so that I've had the car almost exclusively charging at home. Now, I'm not driving as much, certainly, but just going ahead and doing my routine stuff and plugging in, she hasn't seen a change in the electric bill. Certainly the air conditioner and some of the other appliances in the house will draw more energy. The dryer, for that matter, will draw more energy than the Tesla does. It's very efficient in the way it uses its energy. So at essentially 11 cents a kilowatt hour, it might be 12 now, but essentially 11 cents a kilowatt hour, it's very efficient with a 60 kilowatt hour battery. I mean, I'm only paying $6.60 to charge it up completely. Even if I charge it every couple of days like that, it's still not that much money over the course of a month. So regularly keeping it charged seems to be a very efficient way to use my money. Like I said, if she didn't notice a difference in the electric bill, then certainly it must be doing something right. Now, if I were driving more, it might actually have an impact, but it's still kind of a small impact when you think about it. And even when I'm out at 25 cents a kilowatt hour, it's not that expensive to charge it up and keep it going. It's less than gas on the whole. So just thought I'd mention that. And finally, one of the things I wanted to share with you was this quick little video. Arnold Schwarzenegger was talking about the Ford F-150. And this was kind of a cute little video they did. I thought it was kind of funny, and he was promoting an event with it.